Hey, what's up everyone? It's James from Be Elite. Sorry for all the late night shenanigans here, and I missed a couple weeks. I know I was getting some slack from some of the people that's been following along on the mobility and flexibility work, but today's topic is going to bring it up. Pre and post workout, or pre and post exercise mobility work or flexibility work. What do I do? When do I do it? How much should I do? What's the best one to do? Clients ask all the time, what am I supposed to do? I hear all these conflicting things. Don't stretch. Go hard with my stretches, go easy with my stretches. So I'm going to try and bring it down as easy as I possibly can for everyone who is doing mobility work or wants to do flexibility work. First things first, there's two types of stretching: static, which is holding a set position or finding a spot with your body that your joints can handle it, holding a position and easing your body into it. And that's key for either static work or dynamic, is always easing your way into these things. Most people just like to go find a point of pain, stretch past that point because that's what's supposed to be happening, when really that's not. But that's a whole other topic for another day. But to make it easy for people, first thing you do when you're going to go warm up is you're going to begin a dynamic warm up. And dynamic warm up can be anything from a hip rotation or a trunk rotation to shoulder rotations to hip rotations or hip circumductions. But most importantly is taking it from an easy state to a hard state. And what I mean by that is adding very little load or small movements and then gradually working your way up. We want to begin things dynamically so it prepares the body for working out. We're not going to tire it out. A lot of research goes to show that static stretching, even though it's easy to do, that it can also decrease power and may take your body slightly offline, which is, in an athletic world, it's not a great thing to be happening. But and then saving your static stretching for afterwards. It will help bring your body back down to a resting level as well, doing it afterwards. But again, we're going to get to that. So first thing, beginning exercises, do dynamic warm-ups. So that's in sprinters, that's your A, B's, and C's. For everyone else, all us regular athletes or non-athletes, it's just starting your body where you're going to have movement around joints that's not set positions, i.e. like a static. So as an example I will give, if I want to warm up a wrist, it's the movement dynamically it's going to go. And I'm going to start with small rotations and then just work my way bigger. Static positions is when I'm done working out, I find a spot that my wrist can handle and I just ease into the stretch. So I find a point where I feel a slight tug and I press. I'm never going to the point of pain with any one of these things, whether it's static or dynamic. Again, pain can be associated with dysfunction, but some people just don't recognize how far and how deep to go, and we don't want to hurt ourselves before we even get going. So again, going back to dynamic is always done before and it can be done afterwards. But start slow with dynamic at the beginning, maybe 1 or 2 second movements, and then repeat for what it is that you're going to be doing. So if you're going to be lifting the upper body, do dynamic for the upper body. If you know you're going to be doing a sport, soccer, football, basketball, warm the body up as a whole. Focus on the biggest joints and the strongest joints first and work your way back out. I.e. start with your hips, work your way back from your hips. Why? A lot of muscles cross the hips, right? A lot of power comes from the hips. Start from there, and then as you move into subsequent joints, it becomes easier and easier and easier because the hips will in some way affect everything from core all the way out. So number one, start from the core and work your way back out. Number two, add range of motion. So like I said with the wrists, it's going to be here, I start easy, and I just slowly work my way back out. You're warming the joint up, you're getting the central nervous system ready to go do your workout, and then you can go and begin. Again, how much you do and what you do totally depends on what you're going to be doing for that day. After you're all done working out, 2 things you can do. You can do a slower version of what you did to warm up, which will help bring your body back down to a baseline level, start decreasing all the central nervous activation, or you can move to static. And like I said earlier, static stretching is just holding a set position that you find is comfortable, moving into a point of discomfort, pushing a little bit, no pain, and you're going to repeat just like working out, 2 or 3 sets, each muscle group, or specifically the muscle groups that you worked, or where you may be feeling tight the most. again, no pain. Don't. A lot of clients will come and they're like, "Is this good enough? Is this good enough?" It's dependent upon what you can handle, but most importantly, just go easy and breathe into these stretches. So as an easy, I'm coming up into a stretch. It's a nice inhalation. Exhale, ease into this stretch. Don't go too hard. And then repeat. Come back out. Inhale, exhale, repeat. Right? Don't force things. Tons of people try and force these stretches because if it feels like it's strong, it must be working. That's sometimes not exactly the way that whole mobility and flexibility thing works. But I want to keep it nice and easy. I want to keep it basic today because there's tons of stuff I could talk about and go on for years and years and years. But as far as the mobility work goes, dynamic stretching at the beginning, warm up the muscles that you need to warm up, or as a whole if you're going to play a complete sport. Static stretching when you're done. Find ways to, find muscle groups that you want to work on, and again, go easy into these stretches. You can also do dynamic again, just make it an easier version, or the reverse way. Start off going from a more movement-based into a nice slow static position, and finish off with this. So you bring your body back down to a resting baseline level. So hopefully that helps, or helps clarify things. But one, dynamic before you work out. Start from the hips, work your way out to the rest of the body. When you're done, back to dynamic, or you could do static depending on what your skill level is, right? If it's dynamic, again, start from the hips, work your way out. If you're going static, large muscle groups, breathe into your stretches, don't go too hard, right? And have great and fun workouts. Hopefully that helps. If anything has any questions, again, this whole Be Elite Live thing, oh man, this is crazy going live. So as I get more comfortable doing this, feel free to ask me questions. I'll try and figure out how to read the screen and do everything else. But anyways, folks, hopefully next Thursday I'll be a bit earlier so I can actually interact and we'll go from there. But hope you're having a great night, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Cheers.